Students want to visit a little bit about the education facility planning 958. I want to, of course, welcome you to the class. Normally I do a video for this class in Kearney, but I'm in Lincoln, so I'm using Zoom to try to record this. Let's hope it works. Probably take 5 or 6 tries with my luck. Educational facility planning is it's a specialist class, and obviously we look at not only the building of schools, the maintenance of schools. There's quite a bit of emphasis in this textbook on the building support for a new school, and many of you will face that in the future. I'll talk a little bit about myself. I've taught this class now for 13 or 14 years, and prior to that I was I'm a recovering superintendent. I was superintendent for 20 years in one very small school and one, by Nebraska standards, would be a medium-sized school. And we were successful with 2 bond issues, so I was always kind of happy with that. It's a lot of work doing a bond issue, and we've had several students in the class that have used some of the models that we've used and have had some successful bond issues, so I'm pleased to be able to report that. The textbook that we're using is a paperback. Let's see if I can hold that up closely. Planning Educational Facilities, and then at the bottom it says, I'm reading this backwards, what educators need to know. And it's the 3rd edition, 2009. And the author is Glenn Earthman, and he's fairly well respected. It's not a bad textbook. Talks a little bit too much about bigger schools, and we'll talk about that later. So his thoughts about a small school with 2,500 students. Many of you would be in schools that are much smaller than that. One of the things that I would ask you to do, I'm opening up the course early this year, and one of the reasons is obviously from July 5th to the 28th is a pretty tight schedule, and so it takes a little time to do some of these projects. So I've opened up early so you can start on the projects. You can go ahead and work ahead a couple, 3 lessons if you want, but don't get too far ahead, because some of those in discussion board I'll ask you to comment about other people's contributions or their postings. There is less, I guess I see myself more as a facilitator. I'm not going to be quite as involved in this class as I am in some. There's less discussion board interaction. Oftentimes I have it reported on discussion board, and you'll do some projects that will be on discussion board. We also do a little bit of what we call the assignment mode, and you can feel free to use attachments in the assignment mode. I don't do that a lot in this class, but with discussion board, I would rather you post directly to it, except for your bigger reports. And if you take a quick look at the syllabus, there's a lot of stuff at the start of the syllabus that you're wasting your time, and I was wasting my time writing it up, but we're required to do it. But anyway, if you go right to the course activities, there's 3 projects, and you need to do, the first one is to interview a professional. Now that can be an architect, it can be a maintenance person, it could be your superintendent, somebody who's been involved in a building project or building maintenance. That's one of the two. The second one is visit a school that's been built within the last 5 years. And when you do that, you want to line up an interview with the administrator of the building. And the reason I do that is that you'll realize that there's things wrong with a brand new building. I mean, it is, you think, well, there's a new building, that's great, but I think you go into any new building, we learn from what some would consider mistakes. And a lot of times that's the cheapest tuition we pay, is when we learn from other people's mistakes. Now, those are 2 projects. You don't have to do them both. Now, I used to have them do both, but because of the summer schedule, one or the other. One of those two projects will work. The third project then is to do a survey of your own building. And when you do the survey of your building, I'm going to ask you to include a picture or a diagram of the building so that somebody looking at it can get a sense of what that building's about. We'll ask you to do that in one of the discussion questions too, so be prepared for that. Then you have to write a letter to your Board of Education requesting that you present to the board. And then the third thing, of course, is the actual survey. And the questions on the survey are there. I mean, when you go to lessons, there won't be anything that should be a surprise to you. It will tell you quite a bit about about what you need to do. You can add questions to any one of those projects, but those are projects you could get started on right now. And the major project, the facility survey, your own school, that's worth a lot more points. That's a major project. So you want to spend some time on that, and towards the end, I usually lighten the load a little bit at the end so you can work on that last project. You'll have a little more time. One of the things, and for me, timelines are important. If somebody falls behind, I do penalize them, and I really like to have people kind of be together. So you can work ahead in this course a little bit because we don't have as much discussion, but make sure you go back and check. I will deduct points significantly if I say respond to 2, read 5 postings and respond to 2. If you don't respond to those 2, half your points are gone. So you want to be sure that you go back and check that before the due date. But you can work ahead. They're asking, and I'm going to follow that this summer, is to use your UNK email address as much as possible. So you want to be checking that quite often, especially if you're missing something that we would want to communicate with you. Now you can write to me using your own email address. I don't have a problem with that. And then usually then when I type in your name, it'll come up so I can write right back to you. But I do like to use that. As far as grading, especially the written work, the things that I like to have you show me in discussion board or in assignment mode: 1 is that you've read it, 2 that you understand it, and 3 your ability to personalize it to your situation or to you personally. It's not rocket science, but that's kind of what I look at. One of the things about grades, they're not a major focus of this course. If you do the projects, you do the work, you'll get you'll get an A. I mean, that's basically what we're shooting for. So it's an A to lose if you don't get it done. A few people will get, maybe 2 or 3 might get an A+ because they've done a better project and they've done some better things. And so you want to keep up with that as much as you can. Well, another thing that I will mention, I always say this, that I'm going to read every posting, and I'm going to respond to every posting. I'll say I'm not going to do that, and I usually do, and it's very time consuming. I probably won't do that so much this summer. And one of the reasons I'm posting this early, because I'm having eye surgery Monday of this week, so that would be the 20th of June. So I'm not sure how good I'm going to be. I think we'll be all right from what I understand, but anyway, I'm trying to limit some of that. And that's most of what I want to tell you. You can take a look at your syllabus. The other thing that I wanted to be sure that you do is look at the external links. And there are really some good sites. And many students after the course is over say, I'd like to bookmark those. I'm telling you now to bookmark them now. Do you think you're going to be a future superintendent or business manager? Some of those sites are just really, especially the one on building maintenance. There's one on facility size, and there's another one that deals with, I guess it's the clearinghouse for facility planning. And those, some of the superintendents that my students have now, they use that material. So it's probably better than the textbook is. Sometimes I'm not really excited about the textbook. Let's see, there's one or two other things. Probably the main thing that I'm looking at is that you get some stuff out of this class that you can use later on. And we do spend some time on bond issues and how you might plan for that. We have some videos in this course. Some of them are fairly old, but I keep those because they're good. And I have people that have done an architect in here. I've got a couple of attorneys that have talked about facility planning. I've got a video from a construction manager. So those even though some of them are old, I know if I can recreate the quality that I had with some of those people. Some of them are getting out of the business, I guess I should say. The last thing that I'll put on the announcements is that we are having a gathering of EDAD students during administrator days, and we're meeting at Old Chicago, and it's within walking distance of where some of your principals might be attending. Wednesday is the Department of Education Day, and so we will be meeting there, just a chance to kind of meet each other. And I may have something that will have something to do with your assignment. I hope that you enjoy the class, and I know it's a busy time in the summer, and it's some of you I've noticed are taking 2 classes, and that really is biting off quite a bit. But I think you can do it. The main thing is that you try very hard to pick up some of this material, and I hope you'll find that the material is relevant to you in the future. Thank you.